All right, I have mashed a button on one. Now I got a matchy button on the other one. Go live, damn it. Go live. Oh, I probably shouldn't be saying damn it. I think we're already live.
Yeah, a little bit.
There we go. We're live. Hi, everybody. Happy, I almost said happy Valentine's Day. Happy St. Patty's Day.
Happy St. Patty.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
And standing in for the role of Dan tonight will be a one Mr. Wally White. So welcome to the show, Wally.
A different set of whites.
It's a different set of whites. Exactly.
I'm the other cousin. I'm the one that doesn't get invited to the family reunion.
Well, you're also the one that doesn't get arrested every other weekend. So there's that.
Well, there's that.
Allegedly.
Shall I mash the button, y'all?
Mash away.
I'm Dan. I'm George.
And we are Queer Magnolias,
the podcast.
In each episode,
we're going to talk about everything from growing up queer in the South to the issues that are affecting our community today,
with a little bit of fabulous sprinkled in along the way.
So join us for an all-you-can-eat buffet of queer joy,
mixed in with the occasional bitch fest,
but always served with the spiciest tea.
Hi. So, commentary, George, for our special, because I saw you eyeing it. I saw you lean in, and you were like, "What is happening here?
What is going on?" Did you make that, Rick?
I did not. Aaron made it.
I love it, Aaron.
That's right.
I love you, Aaron.
Oh my God, we didn't go live yet. We're not live on Instagram. Sorry, guys. There we are. Now we're live on Instagram. I should not be in charge of mashing the buttons. I should not be in charge of mashing the buttons. Sorry.
Well,
hi, everybody. We already played the intro. Should we play? Yeah, it's the end. Thank you for joining. Should I play the intro again for everybody on Instagram that didn't get to see it? I feel like I should. I'm going to do it.
Once, twice, three times a lady.
That's right. Now you know my rule on Saturday night. All right, here we go, y'all. Official start.
Hi, I'm Rick.
I'm Dan.
I'm George.
And we are Queer Magnolias,
the podcast.
In each episode,
we're going to talk about everything from growing up queer in the South to the issues that are affecting our community today,
with a little bit of fabulous sprinkled in along the way.
So join us for an all-you-can-eat buffet of queer joy,
mixed in with the occasional bitch fest,
but always served with the spiciest tea.
Never let it be said I do not hit my mark.
I mean, it took you 2 times to get the mark, but
doesn't matter. I still fucking hit it. Hi, y'all, and welcome to the show, Wally. Thank you for stepping in for Dan, who is out traveling the world once again.
Yes. Just remember, Wally, there is only one star in Helen Lawson production, and that's Helen Lawson.
I'm not sure who he was pointing to, but
well, it won't me and it won't Wally.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway,
I don't know how you're planning on doing a show about a holiday that deals with so much alcohol without Dan. Like, you really should have put this entire thing off. And I don't think there's anybody, not that all of us don't.
I mean, they should have just moved the whole holiday, in my opinion. Yeah, they should just move the holiday. It should have been postponed until he's back in town. Yeah. I don't know what they're thinking.
I mean, he's practically a professional alcohol person.
I think he is very politically correct. I love that.
Non-gender alcohol person.
I love it. Oh, Lex is here. Hi, Lex. So anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day. We have decided that in lieu of the holiday this week, we are not going to dive into our usual politics and what's going on in the World Fair. Instead, we just kind of want to hang out and try and have some fun. So that being said, I thought we'd tell some stories, about some gay old times. So who wants to go first? What you got? What you got?
Well, Wally, I mean, I feel like we have done St. Patrick's Day episodes in the past on Queer Magnolias,
But
with
nobody
Greg,
remembers them, to
which
be
doesn't
fair.
always tell because everybody drinks on the show. So who's going to remember? But Wally, you weren't there, so you should go first.
Well, the first thing, without delving in and doing the normal political thing, I do want to, in just a quick moment, for a cheer. You know, last week there was the whole thing. We have one trans person in Congress right now, and there was the committee meeting. I don't know what the committee is. I don't even care. But the Republican in charge of that committee was recognizing Representative, I had to write it down, McBride, and he called her Mr. McBride. And I don't want to get into that whole story, but the part that I want to cheer on that I think kind of got overlooked, right? Because we were cheering on the ranking Democrat who stood up for her and said, absolutely not, right? But in that, the biggest thing that I loved was she was going to keep on rolling. But she got her little jab. She said, thank you, Madam Chairperson. And then she was going to keep on going. So I just wanted to give Representative McBride a cheer and a thank you for slapping back with
that did not
class.
go unnoticed with me. I absolutely loved it. And when the Democrat that first interrupted that first started talking, within the first 3 seconds of hearing it, I was going to be like, is he going to correct her? Because I lose my shit over this.
Right.
And it never happened. I love it.
But it was almost like in the moment they didn't hear it. So I just want to keep saying it till everybody knows. And I want everybody to continue calling that was a representative Keith Self. And I only say the name so that we can keep saying Madam Self. Thank you, Madam Self. Thank you, Madam Self. Anyway, so you want a drinking story for St. Patrick's Day?
We'll take any story. It doesn't have to necessarily be a drinking one. I mean,
okay. Well, my first job out of college, I worked for Debbie Reynolds, and I'm singing in the rain. It was her 60th birthday party at the Dunes Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, which is, once stood where the lake is now at Bellagio. And one night after the show, we were in a lounge, and it's like 4 of us there, Debbie being one of them. And Debbie could put down some drinks, she could put down some drinks. And she always shared the drinks or paid for the drinks. She paid for all of my drinks and shared, except when she bought a bottle of Dom Perignon. I still have never tasted Dom Perignon. But anyway, we're at a lounge. We're at a lounge at the Dunes. We're drinking. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like 24, I think, maybe 22. And I'm like, I need to go to bed, but this 60-year-old woman is still going strong, and I can't give in. So we're talking, and then suddenly she said, she's here. They'll be over in a minute. And I was like, what are you talking about? She said, well, about 30 minutes ago, the man sitting at the bar recognized that I was sitting here. And this was like 1992, so way before cell phones. She said, and he asked the bartender to use the phone, and he called his wife and told her she needed to get down here. She has just arrived, and they'll be over in a minute. She clocked that 30 minutes beforehand and never even mentioned it to us. And sure enough, within a few minutes, they were right. And she'd been drinking the whole time, by the way. And they came over, and they got their gracious moment with her, and she signed whatever that, and then they went on their way. And I was up till about 5 o'clock in the morning that night, which was not something I did, but it's a good memory of a really great lady.
So here's my question about working for Debbie Reynolds. You worked for her for a little while, yes, I think.
A year and a half, off and on.
What I seem to know about every story I've ever heard, not only from you, but just everybody in general, is what an absolutely gracious soul she was to everybody who would recognize. I've heard, maybe it was you that told me the story about her being in the elevator, and it's like, yes, like she's standing in the elevator with all these people, and everybody's looking around, and she's like, yes, I'm her. It
There was one, it was just she and I on the elevator, and it stopped at a lower floor, and this other man got on. The doors closed, and then he was like, and he said, are you? And she said, hi, nice to meet you, Debbie Reynolds. And he said, my wife and I were just at your show the other night. It was so good. She said, well, thank you so much for coming to the show. Yeah. So.
But that's what I've always heard is she's always been very gracious with everyone and just very sweet and adorable and down to earth. I don't know that I could do that if I were to ever reach any kind of notoriety or fame. I just, I don't know if I could be that nice, but we'll see.
You don't do it now when you have no notoriety or fame.
Well, this is very true. I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but, thanks for bringing it up, George.
You're welcome.
Look, the difference was also she was trained in the MGM system. Like they were trained not just in their acting and all that, but like how to be movie stars. And so
I think that's missing today in a lot of ways. Like and how like that. Yeah. It's just it's the graciousness that I mean I can understand. I mean, but we also the access that fans have today is probably also not measurable to what it was back 50 years ago anyway. So.
Yeah, but also the studios don't own you anymore like they did back then. So there's some
20-year contract or whatever the situation used to be. So
yes. Wally, do you have any stories about Carrie? Did you ever meet her?
No, but I talked to her on the phone once. So when I finished the first time I worked for Debbie, in fact, the same time where we met the man on the elevator, I had gone over, she had an apartment at the Las Vegas Country Club, and I'd gone over there, and I just graduated college, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life, and I had mailed a bunch of resumes to LA. You remember when there used to be the little book called the Ross Reports, and it had information.
Yes, I remember the Ross Reports.
And I'd gotten the Ross Reports and mailed my resume to every TV show on the air in New York and LA. And so I had driven to Las Vegas from North Carolina, and before I turned around and drove home, I wanted to go out to LA and just at least see the buildings that my resumes were in, right? So when I told Debbie I was going to do that before going home, she said, well, where are you going to stay, darling? And I was like, I'm just going to pull in and stay at a hotel. And she said, oh, no, darling, it's much too expensive. I'm going to stay here and rest for the next week. You should go stay at my house. So I went and stayed at her house by myself in North Hollywood. And while I was there by myself one afternoon, and the phone rang, and I answered, and Carrie was on the phone, and she was very nice to me. But and I told her mom was at the apartment in Las Vegas. And so that was the only exchange I ever had with Carrie.
You know what? That's and I loved it.
I love it. At least she was like, who the hell is this? Why are you in my mother's house?
Yeah. I also spoke to Ann Miller at the same. Ann called while I was there too, wanting Debbie. So yeah.
I used to work at a limousine company here in Los Angeles many, many, many years ago, and I worked in their reservations department. And Ann Miller would always call and request her own cars, and I love talking to her because she sounds exactly like what you think she's going to sound like. She is so old Hollywood, like that. And even on the phone, she's on. Like, it was so great. I was like, Ann Miller, I love you.
Lex says he's got some stories himself. I wish there were a way we could connect people in, like a call-in show or something. Wouldn't that be well?
Right.
I don't know. Let me think about that.
Just give out your personal cell phone number right now on the air, and just have people start calling you, and you can hold it up.
No.
I guess
here. Let me get. I'll get your number, Rick, and I'll give it out to.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate the help, but it's not needed. Thanks.
One of your burner phones, Rick. Just one of your burner phones.
Well, I have 3 and an iPad, and the iPad and 2 of them are work issued. But anyway, whatever it is, what it is. So. Do I have a story? I mean, about St. Patrick's Day in particular. I do have one. I don't know that it's that salacious. It's certainly not wrestling in the parking lot salacious or whatever. But there was one year that I absolutely, probably one of the highlights of of all the St. Patrick's Day that I've had, that I met one person, a friend of mine, a coworker from work, and we were going to meet at a place in Studio City that's no longer there. I think it's called the Baked Potato now, but at the time it was called Harry's Hat. I don't know if you remember that, Wally, or even George. And so we met there. We had a couple drinks there, and then we just started sort of this bar crawl up Ventura Boulevard, and we ended up at Residuals, which is an actor bar where a lot of actors hang out. Obviously, Residuals. And so it's an upstairs, downstairs, and we go in, and the upstairs stairwell is blocked off for a private party. And I'm like, who is having a party? Who do you think it is? We should crash it. And it said Jennifer's party and private invite only or something. And so we're trying to get up there, and they wouldn't let us up. And so we went and had a couple of drinks, and then whoever's guarding the steps went away, and we went upstairs. There was 4 people up there. 4 people. I was like, what is happening? And so that has ever since for Alyssa and I, it's become fucking Jennifer, man. Because it was Jennifer's
who
party.
Jennifer was?
Well, I don't know who the Jennifer was to this day,
Okay.
but there were only 4 people there. We were probably super early, but anyway, I was just like, oh, this is lame. You're not going to let us up for 4 people. This is stupid.
Well, this is Jennifer's party. It's definitely no Jennifer's body, which is a better thing.
Nope. Jennifer has left her body.
That's I don't think I can't think of an actual St. Patrick's Day story, but I have a good story about an Irish bar and an Irish boy.
Well, those are always fun. How could we say
That
no?
works.
So there is an Irish bar on Decatur in New Orleans called Molly's at the Market.
Oh, we know Molly.
Yes. Which I feel like every Irish bar in every city, there's one called Molly something. Like here in LA, there's Molly Malone's. There's always a Molly something.
Well, it's like 5 in Chicago, I think. So.
And they're all Molly something.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Molly's on 5th. Molly's on 3rd. I'm like, where is Molly today? Yeah.
So I was at Molly's one night for they did like an alternative night. It was like I said, this is not St. Patrick's Day. This was one random Tuesday or whatever night it was. They were doing the alternative night. And I was there with some friends, and we'd been there for a while, and I was sitting like on the side, sitting out whatever song it was I didn't care about. And this cute skinhead boy was sitting next to me. Like, I was like, oh my God, he's so cute. And then we started talking, and I was like, but he's a skinhead boy? And so I was like, look, and then so I leaned over, I was like, look, are you really a skinhead, or are you just like into this for the look? He was like, well, I just like, he's like, I think it's a good look. I was like, yeah, I think it's a really good look too. And so later the same night, he's in the DJ booth, and I lean in because I didn't realize it's him, and I wanted to request something. And he's like, oh, you should come in. So I come in, and we share a drink, and I say to him, I says, well, sharing a drink is almost like sharing a kiss. And that's as close as I got. But it was a really good story, and he was a very cute boy. His name was Henry.
I was kind of rooting for you and Henry.
Me too. I really was.
Where is Henry today, George?
Yeah,
you got a last name? I mean, who are we kidding? I gave George a name earlier today. Within 2 minutes, he was back with a full background report. I was like, oh, okay, we're doing background checks now. Got it. All right, understand.
Well, I wanted to look out for you, Rick.
I appreciate that. I do. I mean, I have a Mardi Gras story. I think we're close enough, right? It's a couple weeks ago.
Keep drinking.
Drinking involved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is also, I mean, surprise, surprise. Everything that happened significant in my life happened in LA, but this was here in LA. It's not a parking lot story, but I did go out for Mardi Gras with my roommate at the time, and somehow when we got to the bar, we kind of like, although we arrived together, we got separated, and I don't know if I can tell that part. Sorry, I probably should have thought this through. We ended up hooking up that night with somebody that hooked up with him, left, hooked up with me, back at the same place, and it wasn't until the next morning we realized it was the same guy. So I'll leave the important details out of that, but that was our notorious Fat Tuesday.
So What? You and him.
We hooked up. Me and my roommate hooked up with the same guy at different times on the same night.
Oh, I see. But not you and your roommate didn't hook up.
No. It was not like that. I know there's always this fantasy with gay men in the gay community about the roommates and friends with benefits and all that. Every roommate I've ever had in my life was not like that.
Yep, I never did it with a roommate. I mean, in my mind, I did it with all of the straight ones, especially, but never actually happened.
Yeah, I have never done it with a roommate either. And like, I'm sorry, but if I know how you don't wash your dishes or your laundry, you're not going there. So it's a little too intimate.
I'm not interested in what they do in the kitchen if I'm thinking about bedroom activities. I just don't care about the kitchen.
Well, exactly. It's one or the other, not both. So
there you go.
Lex says he's got spots on his podcast if any of us want to join. So, Lex, what is the podcast? Throw it up in the chat and I'll throw it up on screen. Yeah, we'd be down.
Yeah.
So. Also, he's been to many Mardi Gras parties growing up you grew up in New Orleans. Well, you and George will have a lot to talk about. So George lived in New Orleans for a while.
I did and loved it very much. I think about it every day, Lex. Every day I think about it.
I have still never visited that city.
What are you
Wally? What are you doing?
Know.
Come with us at the end of this month. What are you doing? After this episode, we're going to talk. Come with us at the end of this month. You have to join us.
What? I would love to, and I probably can't that soon.
Just
but we'll
drive
see.
down, and you can stay with us. You can sleep on you can sleep on the couch in the lobby. No one's going to care.
I mean, girl, you can take like a Greyhound for like $13 from North Carolina to New Orleans. It's so cheap.
I don't mind driving it. It's just,
Let's talk afterwards.
I'm a preacher. I work on Sundays.
Oh, I guess you do work on Sunday. Well,
yeah, Sunday is my work day.
Traveling out on Sunday, and I'm not traveling out until Monday, and I'm going back to North Carolina after New Orleans. So we should actually talk about that too, because I'd love to grab dinner one night while I'm there.
There must be an assistant pastor.
I'm sure there's a way. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll figure it out. We'll see.
Okay.
If there's a way that I can fit it in, I really want to visit. And I don't want to go during Mardi Gras. That's too many people for me. It's like I grew up
20 years ago, I'd have been all in on that. But
yeah. I used to think I wanted to be in Times Square New Year's Eve. And then I lived in New York. And I was like, you could feel the crazy in the air just being near it. And I was like,
I did it once. I did it once.
Never.
And let me tell you, I will never do it again. Here is the thing about being in Times Square on New Year's Eve. They put you in grids in a box and you can't leave. And you have to show up at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon or 6 in the afternoon. You're in that box. You can't even leave to go to the bathroom. You're in that box until after the ball drops. So you
never ever doing that.
Yeah, I did it once. Never need to do it again. The only way I would ever do Times Square on New Year's Eve is if I'm up standing on that stage. I will never
I would do
ever
it from a hotel suite that overlooked.
Maybe depends. I mean, because at some point I'm going to want to go to bed, and that's just going to be loud until about 3 a.m.
So, do you think there's a thing in LA that's like equivalent to that? Would be like going to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl, or like being on Hollywood Boulevard during Academy Awards? Like that must be insane because they closed down the whole street, and like the people that are on Hollywood for that must be trapped.
I mean, I know that they shut down Hollywood Boulevard for the Academy Awards the night before, starting usually around midnight or whatever.
They start building that stuff like a week beforehand. What are you talking about?
No, they do, but the actual
shut the street down the whole time though.
They definitely shut down parts.
They shut the block down.
Yeah.
There's a block that shut down, but there's a wider section of the town that shut down at the day before the event. But yeah, Times Square, man. I mean, just the cleanup alone from all those people, it's insane. So it's at least a 3-day. I don't know. I'm just guessing. It's a 3-day thing. Somebody from New York should chime in because I don't know. I've done it once and I never need to do it again.
Well, I think that's like Mardi Gras. Like I would always tell people when I left and moved here, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're from New Orleans. What's Mardi Gras like?" I'm like, it's great. Everyone should see it once. But don't think you're going to see the city when you go to do that. You're going to see people.
Yeah, exactly. It's a wall of people. So it's kind of like West Hollywood for Halloween night. Yeah. It's just wall to wall people. That's all it is. And all you can do is just slowly meander your way from one corner to the other. You can't get in anywhere because it's always so busy. It's ridiculous.
Except for Mardi Gras, you can drink on the streets, unlike in West Hollywood for Halloween.
Well, I remember when you used to be able to drink on the streets, or at least in beer gardens. I don't know if they still have the beer gardens, but I remember because it was enclosed, you used to be able to do that. Remember Sunset Junction, the first one, the first iteration? That was a fun one.
Dory Alley.
Oh. No, I'm not telling that story on this program. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Sorry. All right, Wally, what else you got?
I was going to say, I just thought as we were talking, I thought of an actual St. Patrick's Day story. You got to drop names along the way, at least add to the story. So I used to be an extra and a stand-in on the CBS show, The Mentalist. And my friend Sean was Simon's stand-in, the lead of the show. But Sean was very Irish, both sides of his family. And so very Irish folks. I've known a few that I've been close with, and they take the day off, St. Patrick's Day. Well, he was all looking forward to, there was an Irish pub near his place in Marina del Rey, and they opened at 6 a.m. and he was already set to go there and drink all day. And then it turned out it was the day Simon was working and they were shooting at Warner Brothers. And so I was not working that day. But I said, let me see what I can figure out. So I researched Irish pubs and stuff, and I found that Residuals that you mentioned was opening at 6 a.m. on St. Patrick's Day for the holiday. And so I told my friend, he had a, 7:30, 8 o'clock call time. I was like, I will get up and come meet you. So I got up. I had no work that day. I could have slept all day long. I got up to go meet my friend at this bar at 6 o'clock in the morning. There were people that were showing up for an AA meeting that they had there at 6 o'clock in the morning normally. And they were like, oh yeah, you can't have your AA meeting today because people are going to be drinking in here. And so we got in there, we get our drinks, we're bellied up to the bar. There's nobody there but me, Sean, and the bartender at 6:30 in the morning. And suddenly, it's 2015, I think, there's an earthquake. And all the glasses above the bar and above our heads just start shaking and clinging, and shit. And there was an earthquake at 6:30 in the morning on St. Patrick's Day while we were out drinking a beer.
What day? What year was this?
I think it was 2015.
So I just want to say, when you were telling the story right now, and you stopped and you said there was an earthquake, we have had a swarm of earthquakes here centered in Malibu for the past week. And there is one as early as just last night. I don't remember what time, 8, 9 o'clock maybe. And so when you were like, there was an earthquake, I was like, wait, are we having an earthquake right now? Because I'm traumatized from all of these earthquakes. I can't stand them. So if I disappear under this desk, that's what's happening, just so you know.
I got you.
Were you here for the 94 Northridge earthquake, Rick? Were you in LA?
I was not. I got here one year later.
Yeah,
I saw the
I
aftermath.
was there.
Oh,
I left. I was there in 94 for that, and then left and moved to New York and lived in New York for 5.5 years and then moved back to LA. But I was there living at a residential hotel on Wilshire Boulevard called the Wilshire Royale for the Northridge quake. Yeah. That was my first big earthquake.
I know that place. It's close to Arthur Park, Wilshire Royale.
Yeah.
That was a big one, though. That was very scary. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to be here when that happens. So,
well, everybody says that we're due. We're due, Rick. That's what everybody says.
Everybody needs to stop saying it. It's like when you summon the devil. Stop it. Stop it.
Don't say it 3 times in a row.
Exactly.
About a year after the Northridge quake, I was living in New York, and I lived in Weehawken, New Jersey, but I always said I lived in New York and slept in New Jersey. There was a Hallmark store on the 2nd floor of Port Authority, and I was in the Hallmark store. I was buying a couple of little cute tchotchkes, and one of the buses came through, and when the buses would drive through, sometimes that entire building would shake a little bit. And I had no idea that I had anything lasting from the Northridge quake. But when that building started shaking, there was just this internal panic. And all I knew was that everything that I was getting ready to buy, I needed to set down and I needed to get out of the building as quickly as possible.
Wow.
And I left. And I knew that we weren't having an earthquake. I just was having my own personal panic moment that I didn't know that I was holding on to stuff like that.
Yeah, it's trauma. It's PTSD.
Yeah.
I remember one morning very early, about 5:30 in the morning, I was at the gym working out, and this was 24-hour fitness. Shut up, George. I was working out. It was 5:30 in the morning.
What were you working out, Rick?
Doesn't matter. I was working out. Muscles, darling.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was working out next to, it was 24-hour fitness, and so they had this floor to ceiling glass, like the whole wall was glass. And it's probably, I'm gonna say 20 foot high. Is really fucking high. And this earthquake hit, and I'm working out right next to that thing, and I just remember the first thought was, what, it was a 5 something, and it was pretty powerful, and my first thought was, what the fuck? And I look at the glass, and the glass is doing this, and I'm like, if that fucking glass breaks, I mean, we all saw the fall of the House of Usher, right? You know what you know what happened with the one daughter who had the glass mirror above her bed. I was like, that could be me. Oh my god, it was terrifying. Terrifying. I hate earthquakes. I don't know how we got on this subject. We were talking about, St. Patrick's Day and Mardi Gras.
It was me. It was me because there was an earthquake on St. Patrick's Day while I was drinking, and I was pretty sure that God was punishing me because I was out drinking beer at 6:30 in the morning.
It should have been called Shenanigans, but it was called Residuals.
Well, that's why we're called Shenanigans today.
Shenanigans.
Shamrocks and Shenanigans.
Exactly.
George, what else you got for us? Come on, wrap us up with a story.
Well, so I did, like, my last serious boyfriend, who you all know, comes from a very Irish family. His mother was like...
Can I get a first initial of the last name?
Jacob.
So not just boyfriend, your ex-husband.
Exactly. His mother was like New York Irish family. So like there, and his father was Irish. The mother was from Chile, but still like a lot of Irish in their family. So they took St. Patrick's Day very seriously. And I've never experienced St. Patrick's Day like I experienced with him and his family. They were very, like, it was, like you said, it was like you take a day off from work. It is a big thing for them. Like the green beer, the corned beef and cabbage, like all of it. Like the Kiss Me, they have the t-shirts, the Kiss Me, I'm a, with their last name. Like very, very, very much into it. And a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It's a lot of, I don't know. It felt to me, Rick, and I think you'll understand this being from the South, and Wally, of course, you two from North Carolina, like it kind of felt like a family reunion. It was that kind of vibe with them for St. Patrick's Day. So I recommend it to everyone. Date someone who's super Irish so you can experience this. As long as you can drink, you've got to be able to hold your own because, girl, it goes for a while.
I don't know. Back in the day, I probably could have held my own, but these days, woo, Lord, like 7:30, 8 o'clock roll around. I'm like, you know what? I think we're good here. So,
but like Raleigh said, you're starting at 6 in the morning. So by 7:30, 8 o'clock, everybody is this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need a nap at some point in time during the day before all that happens. So I just can't do it anymore. God, I used to remember Pride in LA being a weekend marathon event, and it was like, okay, Pride starting at Friday afternoon at like 4 o'clock, and it's not going to stop until Monday morning at 7 a.m. when I finally roll in home. I remember those days like it was just yesterday, but Jesus Christ, expect me to be out anywhere for like 3 hours? I'm like, no, like when can I go home and take off my pants? I mean, like, shut up. Just shut up.
Are you wearing pants right now, Rick?
No comment. That's why I'm not standing up. Thank you.
We were talking about
Like,
Pride.
that's too much peopling for me. I just, I'm at an age now. There's no way I'm doing something all day long anywhere with anybody. Like, we can have a certain set number of hours, and then
You get 2 hours. What time do you want? You get a 2-hour minimum. You can have it between 3 and 5, 5 and 7, 7 and 9. You need to pick.
I might even bump up to 4 hours. But after 4 hours, I've hit the peopling wall, and like I'm like, I've done all I can do.
I will say, Rick, I feel like if during Pride weekend you weren't finding ample opportunity to take your pants off, you were doing Pride wrong.
I won't argue with that. I mean, I guess that does come from stems from something, right? Because I spent a lot of time with my pants off during Pride.
So what are you complaining about?
I don't know. It's just different from being at home and being like, oh, where are my stretchy pants? Where are my eating pants?
Not the ones you would wear in public to Pride.
Exactly. No. We're talking elastic waistband and some Crocs and just, come on now. I'm not even going out to the mailbox to check for any of this shit. No.
Rick, I think your tongue is green. I just had to check mine to see if mine was green.
Oh, it is. Yay.
There you go.
There you go. You wanted something green. Now you got it. So, well, gentlemen.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna call it a night because, like I said, it's
it's 6:30. She got to go to bed. Mama's got to put on.
That's right. I gotta be up early for my bluebird special, blue plate special.
That's it. Get your grabbing stick.
All right. All right.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you.
Yes,
cheers. I'm gonna take my green tongue and get on up out of here.
Get on up out.
All right. Bye, y'all. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Hang around for 1 second, Wally. Don't go anywhere. I just need to get your download.